Before fame, before filters, there's a human story. This is Starlyst Originals. Sri Lanka is an island. The ocean has been our constant companion. It has carried our stories, tested our strength, but most importantly, taught us the quiet art of grace under pressure. This is the Oceans episode of Starlyst Originals. This episode is filmed aboard a Sail Lanka yacht, where the ocean becomes part of the conversation. Today, I'm joined by Anudi Megha and Megha, Miss and Mr Sri Lanka for World 2024. Anudi, Megha, welcome aboard.
Thank you for having us.
So I'll start off with a few easy ones, not so easy though. So my question would be for the both of you. Before the crowns and global stages, who were you growing up in Sri Lanka?
If I'm being very honest, before international stages or the crowd, I don't think I was a completely different person. Of course, with experience, I think I got to be more mature. But I'm also the oldest child of the family, so I grew up with so many responsibilities to be a perfect example for everyone around me, for my siblings, for my cousins. So I think because of that, I was always ready for a responsibility and for a challenge even when I was a kid. I think that helped me a lot even when I was older. But I don't think, like I said, the crown or the international stages completely changed who I am. If anything, it really modified who I was as a person, yes.
Right. What about you, Megha?
Yeah, for me also it's the same. Because pageantry is something that I came out of my way to be and out of my comfort zone. So till then I think I was just a kid who followed his passions and want to do what he wanted to do at his best. So that is what I was. I think even pageantry, to participate in pageantry, came through that.
And moving on to my next question, what responsibility comes with carrying Sri Lanka's name beyond the title itself?
I think regardless of the country's name, representing a country in a pageant or even in a competition, it's a huge responsibility because no matter the amount of population or the amount of people who live in your country, it narrows down to one single person. And that one single person becomes a country. In our case, it was Sri Lanka. We were Sri Lanka. So everything we do, everything we say, everything shapes the way the country is seen on a global platform. So that itself is a huge task. At the same time, I think the representative, the one who represents the country at that international pageant, they also have a responsibility to merge their personality into the country factor as well. As an example, now we both won the same pageant, we both went to the same pageant as well. He went to Mr. World, I went to Miss World. It was Sri Lanka at the end of the day, we were Sri Lanka. But what made our journey specifically unique was our factor, like Anudi factor in my journey and his Megha factor in his journey. I think that is very beautiful because this year we have another representative that goes to Miss World and her journey will be completely different from mine because she brings something unique to her journey from her experiences and maybe her upbringing, maybe the things that she has learned throughout her journey. So I think that is how each journey becomes unique. But again, representing Sri Lanka and carrying your flag and also being called Sri Lanka, that is a feeling of pride, I would say.
Amazing. And what about you, Megha?
I think I stand with them. Interesting the things she said. That to be called Sri Lanka, to be Sri Lankan and to stand for being Sri Lankan at an international platform, to represent the culture that you're coming from and to represent all different races, different ethnicities and to show what Sri Lanka is and to show how unique we are at our own capacity at an international platform is a responsibility altogether. So we have to understand that while we bring ourselves on the stage, that we are representing our nation as a whole. So there are different responsibilities that falls on us as representatives, even through we Mr. or Miss. And we have to navigate through all that and to show the expression of our nation to the world. So I think that is in itself is a huge responsibility.
Yeah, I think that's a huge responsibility, and a lot of us can't really relate to that level of responsibility. So kudos to you guys to handling it so well. So we move into the fun bit of the conversation. So, what's your most fond memory attached to the ocean?
To be honest, all of you know that I'm from Anuradhapura, so I did not grow up with the ocean or the beaches. All we had as water bodies was the water tanks and the rivers. But the only time I actually get to interact with the ocean was when we come to Colombo, maybe for a trip, maybe to see someone in Colombo, specifically school trips, because that way you get to really interact with the beaches and the ocean with your friends as well as a kid. But to be honest, I'm very scared of the ocean as well, so I don't think I'm a person who would really explore what's in it. But I'm also very fond of it. So yeah, that is sort of my experience with the ocean.
Your relationship?
For me, it's contrasting to Anudi, I think. I was born in Kandy, my father's from Bora. So since we were kids, we interacted with beaches and sea as a whole, and it was the fun we wanted to have. And it was a different experience from the day-to-day life, a break that we get during our school holidays. So to me, beaches, sea, ocean has been a fun getaway since we were kids. And to speak in this regard, in ocean regard, I think scuba diving for me has been an experience that I'll never want to let go. It's a different world out there under the sea, and I think it's something that every person should be able to experience if can, because the way you see life under the sea is totally different. The world you see under the water, in the oceans, it's different. So even for tourists, even for the locals, it's a different experience altogether.
Right. I mean, it's amazing to see how you guys, both of you, come from a background like areas which are landlocked belonging in Sri Lanka with not much access to the ocean, but you ended up liking the ocean anyway. Right. And my next question is to Anudi. What part of your upbringing shaped your confidence the most?
I grew up in a military household. My father was in the state and my mother was in the Navy, Sri Lanka, and all my aunts and uncles, almost everybody sort of contributed to Triforce of Sri Lanka except my siblings and my cousins. So because of that, I think discipline and confidence and love for the country, everything were a day-to-day part of my life, specifically because of my father. And most of the time when I was growing up, I didn't have my father throughout half of my childhood, I would say. My mom says when I'm a baby, when my father comes for vacations and everything, I don't go to his arms because I'm like, who is this person? I don't even know who he is. Because of that, I was really sad of it, but my father eventually convinced me that he almost sacrificed his life and my childhood to serve the country. So because of that, he instilled some strength and also some discipline and also patriotism and also confidence in me. So I think I should give all the credit to my father as well for that. But also both of my parents, I would say, whenever it comes to exploring new opportunities and new chances and challenges in life, they never limited my journey. They will be always like, go for it, go try it. Even if you fail, you can come home and we can try again. I think that is exactly how I got through my university life and also pageantry, because I was the first one to actually do pageantry in my family. But it was a whole new experience for them, but they were always like, it's fine, you can go for it and you can do it. And also when it comes to failure, they would never punish me for it. They would never tell me that I'm a loser, I'm a failure, that I can't do anything nice, that I'm not good enough. They always will be like, you can try again next time. So I think that really gave me confidence to try again and again and to become the best version of myself at the end of the day. Because I always say this, confidence is never about being the best person in that room, because you cannot be practically. But being the best version of yourself and believing that you can even do better. So I think because of my parents and because of my upbringing only, I could really explore that part of my life.
That's amazing and refreshing as well, because being brought up in a military sort of household and still having the freedom to explore the world is something really refreshing to hear. And coming back to you, Megha, what experiences early in life helped you stay grounded, even in big moments? I know I've troubled you calling for this shoot all this time and you've still stayed humble and calm with me. So yeah, let's begin with that.
I think the answer to this is something I always say. That's something I always stand for. Since we were kids, myself as well as my siblings, both my parents being doctors, something that was enlisted into us is that we are in debt to this country, that we because we came through free education, we came through free healthcare, and that is because of the people's blood, sweat and tears. So we have a debt to pay. I think that is one of the main core values that was entitled onto us to follow through and to build our life upon. So that is something that I follow throughout my life, something that I look forward to in life, to give back. That is where myself as well as my siblings, I think, have come to be. That is the reason that grounds me. That is one of the reasons that I always see Sri Lanka as a different place altogether. The culture we have, the people we have. That's why even the tourists that comes here see Sri Lanka differently, because we are a different country. We are a different culture altogether. And I think that is the reason that grounds me.
I think it's good that you actually brought up the tourist factor, because that's where I was going to head next. You know, from your travels across the island, how welcoming and accessible does Sri Lanka feel to you right now? This is for the both of you to answer.
So, in my travels around the world, I've lived in a foreign country for 2 years as well in my life, during the time I was schooling. And it's never the same. Wherever I travel, yeah, it's beautiful. It could be a beautiful country, it could be beautiful cultures to explore, it could be beautiful people, but at the end of the day, there's something unique here in Sri Lanka, in people, in this land, in this culture, in the variety of sceneries we get from north to south and east to west. And that factor in itself, even as a Sri Lankan, is something very, very unique that I felt wherever I travel. And I can't even imagine what a tourist should be feeling when they come to our country, because it's an experience altogether where you will travel within a limited area. You get to experience different worlds. So I think that not just being Sri Lankan, even if I look at it from an unbiased point of view, Sri Lanka is a very different place. The people, the nature, the culture, the landmarks we have, the heritage sites we have here in Sri Lanka, I think it's the best place in the world to be.
So, from your own travels across the island, how welcoming and accessible does Sri Lanka feel to you right now?
I completely agree with what he said, and I'm just going to add something to it as an extra point. So even as a representative of Sri Lanka at Miss World, I really wanted to represent Sri Lanka authentically. I think even in my speech, I spoke about the things that Sri Lankans have been through, whether it's a disaster, whether it's some sort of a political issue, whatever it is, we have this resilience in us. We have been through so much, but we always like, no, we can do it again. Even during the floods that happened very recently, I think everyone got together, everyone helped each other, they donated everything they had, even the slightest, smallest thing they had. So then that is something that I see, something that unique that I see in Sri Lankans. And at the same time, I really want to tell that Sri Lanka is not just a beautiful, this exotic island. There's so much more that we can offer. Specifically about the population in Sri Lanka, we are not a passive population. And we're actually very aware, and even when it comes to literacy rate, in South Asia, we have the best rate. Not the best, but like one of the best. We have about 92% fertile, so that's a really good stats there. So I think we are not just a passive population, and even in Sri Lanka, the people, we have some talent to offer. That is something that we can actually actively incorporate tourism as well, that tourism can offer even more, and it can eventually help the economy of Sri Lanka as well. So to end it, I would say I really want to go beyond this exotic, beautiful island narrative that we have, and tell people, even just not just in tourism, in every aspect, in the economy as well, to tell people that we have more to offer.
So it's like beyond surface level beauty, there's so much.
There's so much to offer. Yes, not just the pearl of the Indian Ocean. That's what I want to say.
My next question again, this is for the both of you.
Okay.
When you look ahead, what gives you confidence about Sri Lanka's future? Not politically.
I think that's what they stopped. The people of Sri Lanka, throughout the history, for thousands of years, we have been a resilient nation. And it could be natural disasters, could be the revolutions we've had, it could be political backgrounds or whatever. We've come through all of it to be standing here and standing tall with our chins held high. I think that is what makes Sri Lankans different as well. And even through the economic crises we've had, we've come to a stabilized point where, which other countries took decades to, we've come within years. And that is because of the people, because we know how to sacrifice, we know how to make ends meet when we need to get things done for the country. And that is something I personally believe as well. It could be from any factor that affects us as a nation. We come together, and even we saw that in 2004 in tsunami. We saw this just weeks before, even in the storms we've had, the floods, the landslides, how people came all from all across the country to help people to rebuild schools, neighborhoods, villages, and that is who Sri Lankans are. I think that is what makes us unique. And looking ahead, I think we'll always follow that path, being Sri Lankan and calling ourselves truly Sri Lankan to the world.
Anything to add there?
I agree with what he said. To add something to it, I think specifically Gen Z is running the country at the moment, and I think that is beautiful because for the first time a generation is actually questions things, and they actually speak against injustice. And it can be seen something as very stubborn, very complicated, but I think it has to be done. And I think with that experience, I'm not putting any of the generations down, but I think each generation has something to learn from each other and also to unlearn and to do better. I think with all of that, I think we can see something hopeful in the future as well. Yes.
Really? All right, so that brings us to the final question. For someone who has not visited Sri Lanka in a long time, what would you say to them?
In a long time, as in someone who has already visited, is it?
Well, someone who has lived here and gone out of the country, or it could even be a foreigner who has not visited here.
Okay, so I think to someone who has migrated, could be for any reason in its life, I think this is a time to give back to Sri Lanka again. We are getting up again, and we will go on to be so. But it's a time that we need help as Sri Lankans, from fellow Sri Lankans. This is the time to help your motherland rebuild, and this is the time to be resilient, as we always have been. And so help is what I'd ask. And to all and any foreigner, could be a tourist, could be someone who loves Sri Lanka the same way we do. Sri Lanka will always be Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka will always love you. So love us back, and we'll show the same love that we show us.
Same as, like he said, it's time to give back to Sri Lanka. I think that is also has been our mission as well as for representatives as for Miss World and Mr. World. And at the same time, I want to say that don't underestimate Sri Lanka. Do not undermine the talent we have here. We always complain saying that we are not up to the international standard, but I think we are up to the international standard. It just we need that push. It's like the world is here and there's a door and there's Sri Lanka. We are almost right behind that door. We just need to open it and go because nobody is opening that door for us. But I think in order to open that door, we need some extra push. So I think it's your chance to be that extra push so we can just open that door and go to the international arena. So it's time to give back and help fellow Sri Lankans to rise from whatever that we've been going through for the past 2 years. So I think it's high time to do that.
Those are some amazing thoughts. And I think that brings us to the end of this episode. Anudi and Megha, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having us.
And for speaking your truth and sharing your love for this beautiful island nation. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Hi, I'm Conrad. Sri Lanka is more than a destination. It is a country defined by resilience, warmth, and extraordinary natural beauty. From vibrant cities to untouched coastline, this island has always welcomed the world with open arms. Sail Lanka was formed with a clear vision to showcase Sri Lanka through world-class marine tourism, while supporting local communities and promoting sustainable growth. From the very beginning, our goal has been to create meaningful experiences that benefit both our guests and the nation. Tourism plays a vital role in rebuilding livelihoods, restoring confidence, and showing the world that Sri Lanka remains a safe, inspiring, and welcoming destination. Today, together with our sister companies, we specialize in luxury yacht charters, yacht manufacturing, and curated marine excursions across the island. Our experiences span across Colombo, Mirissa, Trincomalee, Jaffna, Pasikuda, and Galle, each offering its unique perspective of Sri Lanka by sea. Colombo in particular is a vibrant and dynamic city, a blend of culture, modern energy, and waterfront experiences that every traveler should experience. What makes us most proud is our people, a passionate team delivering genuine Sri Lankan hospitality with professionalism, care, and excellence. As Sri Lanka moves forward, so do we, stronger, united, and ready to welcome the world. We invite you to experience Sri Lanka with Sail Lanka, responsibly, beautifully, and proudly. Thank you.
And this has been Starlyst Originals, the ocean episode, one of the many journeys across the island we call home. Home.